Welcome to The Arts of the Answer, a co-production of AMP Community Television and the Arts Council for Monterey County. I'm Steve Elsie, Executive Producer for AMP.
And I'm Paulette Lynch, Executive Director of the Arts Council for Monterey County. Every episode we bring you artists and organizations whose work exemplifies how the arts are the answer.
Whether it's inspiration or communication, entertainment or compassionate care.
And it all starts right now. One of the greatest cultural treasures we have in Monterey County is enjoyed by people from all over the world, and that's the National Steinbeck Center. I'm so lucky to have with me today Esmeralda Montenegro Owen, who is the Director for Marketing and Community Engagement. If you haven't yet been to the Steinbeck Center, it is right in the heart of historic downtown Salinas, and it's really in the heart of Steinbeck country. So thank you so much for being with us today.
No, thank you for inviting me and to let you know a little bit of everything we're doing at the Steinbeck Center.
So before we dive into what people might see when they go to the Steinbeck Center these days, can you tell me a little bit about how you got involved? What drew you to the center?
You know, I've always been interested in the arts and cultural events, and when I got the opportunity to become their Director of Marketing and Community Engagement in Monterey County, of course I said yes immediately. I have always had this respect for the Steinbeck Center, so it was a wow thing for me to be a part of it, and you know, to educate and to engage and to have everyone enjoy the programming that we provide. It's just amazing.
And to me, the Steinbeck Center keeps becoming more amazing and more wow all the time in how you're doing things, who you're doing it with, all your partners. For me, one of the most moving experiences I've had there is when you had the Filipino exhibition. It was so diverse in terms of what you were showing and how that was going. But what was so exciting and so moving was to see the families that you had brought together to create the exhibition, how proud they were, how grateful they were as they watched other people in the community look at their memories, their treasures in a special way. How about for you? What were some of the special moments you've had?
It was so special because this was truly a community exhibition. The Filipino community basically was living there with us. They were part of the team. And I was so amazed with how proud they were, or they are, of their heritage. And how much, you know, they appreciate it too. The fact that the Steinbeck Center invited them to showcase their history. And it was such a successful exhibition that now it has national attention. It's becoming a traveling exhibit.
That's extraordinary.
Yes, and the next stop will be in San Francisco, and then it's going to go down to probably Los Angeles, go to Texas, and the Smithsonian is also really interested in showcasing that exhibition. So we are so proud to have been part of it, but really appreciate the dedication of the Filipino community in the Salinas Valley for wanting to share all those memories with the community at large.
This is a big part of your work for me, is that you're creating a shared heritage for all of us out of our diverse expressions, out of our diverse memories. And that's pretty amazing right there. So can you tell us what's next? Can you give us a little sneak peek of what's coming up?
We have so much going on, and please go to the website for the details. But we have birthday. We have the 111th birthday celebration for John Steinbeck in February. It's going to be on the 24th of the month. And then after that, we have journalist Damien Trujillo coming in. We're going to have Beauty and the Beast and Noche Bohemia. You're going to be there, I know. And of course, the festival. And we have mariachi festivals coming up as well. There's so much. You just have to go to the website and get the details and go. A lot of the events are free also, so check those out.
Fantastic. Thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I am delighted to be here in the studio with Mark Baer. Now, Mark is a writer, he's a video artist, and he's also the Executive Director of the Museum of Monterey. Mark, welcome to The Arts of the Answer.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell us about what you do
Art is all about what you can get away with. So what do? I try to get away with as much as I can and call it art.
Okay. Wow, you're laying it on the table for us there. Okay, now I know that you do both personal art and public art. Give us an example of both of those.
So for instance, in the last year, I did a project with the Museum of Monterey called the 100-Story Project.
Yes.
It was 106 individuals, 146 stories, icons, institutions, historians and artists of the Monterey region. 30-hour running time, plays on AMP, and plays at the museum.
Hello, my name is Steve Hawk. I'm an art dealer and writer. Here to talk a little bit about E. Charlton Fortune, who was one of the founders of the Monterey History and Art Association, and perhaps California's greatest early impressionist.
So the Pine Cone was founded in 1915. We actually in our office have all of the bound issues back to #1. It was started a year before the city incorporated. And obviously it's gone through its evolutions of being sort of the social paper, and you could read when Mr. and Mrs. Smith were going on vacation in Tuscany, and apparently they didn't worry about burglars back then.
Hotel Del Monte was established initially by Charles Crocker. It opened in 1880. The hotel, as Crocker was building it, often was criticized by people who referred to it as Crocker's Folly. Their belief that visitors simply would not come to this out-of-the-way hotel in Monterey. When it opened in June 1880, it was booked solid. In fact, the hotel had to turn down 3,000 reservation requests in the first 6 weeks of operation alone.
So that's a public piece.
Okay.
And then as a private piece, I would be doing a project called, like for instance, right now I've been working on a project called Joe Cupcake and the Joe Cupcake Chronicles.
Joe considered how to proceed with his text and decided he would look for everything arcane, superfluous passages which could be cut, and then he would shine a light on those things and make them the very focus of his production. There would be plenty of bubbles, but what about the hero? A man of action, a great doer, a profound thinker, a warrior or a genius saving the world with a new serum, or a theory, or an IPO. What would Joe know about any of that?
It probably has less mass appeal in terms of mass appeal when you interview and spotlight other people. You got a lot of friends.
Okay.
When you're interested in your own ideas,
Right.
you're interested.
Okay.
And 7 other people.
Okay.
You know, so that's the reason to do both things.
All right. That's fascinating, and yes, we are showing 100 Stories on AMP, actually on AMP2, our curated channel, because it is a very high quality and compelling piece, and we thank you for doing all that work. All right, right now, what are you doing on specifically right now?
Yeah, I have a company called Smart Channel TV, and it's
Okay.
basically everything but popular culture. So I'm interested in dance and theater and art, and the Innovation and Creativity series is basically how it's going to work is I start with an idea, I put a group of people together, probably there will be 30 people, they will have an idea to start with, and then I will tape them first to tell what they did. There'll be people from our area who have global ideas.
Okay.
The kernel that I'm going to be starting with is it's called the Strategic Narrative and a Roadmap for America by Captain Wayne Porter at the Naval Postgraduate School. And what this document is a very positive tool to help us redefine our future or to reimagine our country in a beyond politics. So actually, you know, to look at solutions and revisualize ourselves. So it's a very potent document.
Yes.
So for people who are, have some affinity to this piece, I wanted to find out what affects them, and then will be the first day, these 30 interviews. The second day, we will find out kind of through, like a word cloud, what it is that most interested them. They'll be broken into working groups because unlike the TED conference, what I'm really interested in is getting people actually to interact with each other and create on the fly without any expectation.
Okay.
Then the next part of this piece will be, I'll have, you know, whoever's the generator of the kernel, in this case, Captain Wayne Porter, will address a public audience that night, and the participants of the Innovators and Creativity series will also be there with, if it's broken into 5 groups of 6, say, a representative of each of those conversations will also address the public.
Oh, okay, so they'll get up and talk also?
Right. Also, so the other, and again, it's going to be artists, it's going to be technology people, it's going to be a real mix of thinkers. So for instance, I would like to have someone who, you know, for a dancer, how would this imagery look as a dance? Remember in the 20s, or in I want to say in the 40s, it was Norman Rockwell had a vision of America. What does America look like now?
Right, right.
So I'm bringing in some muralists, for instance, because what a muralist does is they sit in the community, they listen for a long time before they put anything on a wall.
Sure,
so it's that kind of messaging. So we're going to do something like that so that we can hear what we're talking about. So get some real imaging going on with this. So I'm very, very excited about
And the
this.
end result, though, you hope, is to effect some sort of positive social change.
At our museum, we have that Fresnel lens. That's a very literal beacon of light. And what we want to do with this is use that as our image, and it's a beacon of light in an ever-changing world. So this is how we're, again, presenting this. So we want to do something in our museum that another museum can replicate, so that this conversation can go beyond what we have. So, you know, with social media, with the power of video, with the, you know, it's very simple what we're doing, but these are very potent tools, you know, and, you know, the job of the artist is, you know, to change the world in big ways if they can, and, you know, in this way, and possibly small ways.
Mark, incredible journeys you're embarking on. Thank you so much for coming into the Arts of the Answer.
That's how it was for Joe. He was severely art damaged, but he did his best to infuse his world with soul. Joe was content like this, even happy, notwithstanding the refrain in the night. Am I completely mad? Still, those who seek beauty will always find it. The mystery is everywhere, visible all around you. And Joe tuned in for the miracle every day.
My name is Liz Sanchez. I live in Salinas, California. I have 16 kids, 54 grandkids, and 12 great-grandkids. We were very fortunate to have that place, Alisa Center for Fine Arts, because all those feelings they have that I cannot bring out to anybody. I was present for many years. We were on the street, in different places. There's no money. It was hard. It was a lot of time, but I didn't care, you know, about how many times. That was my job to do it. I teach piano for free, of course, to the parents. And you know why? To attract the parents to come. They love it, they love it. right here in this house, your house. Sometimes they call me at night. You know, I have some problem. Can you please talk to my son, to my daughter? Of course, absolutely. Whatever I can do. And I decided to start writing the newspaper. I do this for 20 years and helping parents who lost their kids, who they were having problems with a lot of things. Most of my kids were part of Berniz House Center for Fine Arts. And 5 of them, they're still part, my grandkids, of the fine arts. And her kids were like 5 years old when they start doing and walking on the streets, doing some kind of job to help. So they're still doing it. And I'm so proud of them. I'm supposed to be a nun.
Hi, my name is Walter Rice. I'm a writer at the Monterey County Weekly, and I'm glad to have here as my guest on the show today, Ed Leeper. Thanks for joining us, Ed.
My pleasure.
You were talking about how, as a paratrooper, you used to take your jump pay and do what with it?
I took my jump pay, this was 1968 at Fort Bragg, and bought art books and catalogs with it. I was single, so I could do that. And I did that for, well, let's see, the 2 years I was with Special Forces as a personnel officer. I wasn't trained for forces training. I was support special, although I did jump. I had a jump position. I parachuted. Fortunately, I like to do that, if nothing else, because my name is Leeper. Funny.
Can you talk about the moment, and you seem to have pinpointed it to a specific day where you started doing art?
We were off in New York to the Museum of Modern Art. I think it was a Paul Klee show, retrospective. He's one of my favorites. To see that, and then I wanted to go down to Washington to see the memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, because it's a work of art. Well, I was looking at that because I wanted to, there were some people on there who I knew, 2 or 3, and from Nam. And so I found out that what you do, people come there like me, they were veterans there, or next of kin, people on there that died, and they leave things. So I said, what I want to leave a small stone, granite stone from Bixby Creek, just before Bixby Creek hits the Pacific Ocean. And I did that. I found a stone, and left it there under one of the guys. But I looked at all those 58,000 people are on there, and I suddenly thought, what would 6 million? Suppose the memorial was made just like this, with the names of the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the German government in World War II. I was thinking it would go all the way down to the Capitol, down the mall to the Capitol, because the Vietnam Memorial is right up next to Lincoln Center. So I'm in Lincoln Memorial. So that at least go all the way down to the Capitol. And then there it was, eureka, I'm going to find out. I'm going to make 6 million marks. Boom, boom, boom. I bought papers about the size of Moses tablets, heavy paper. It took me about as long as it took the German government to murder 6 million Jews, 2.5 years about. And then I want to show it. Where can I show it? I said, well, I'll show it at college art galleries. So I went to Hartnell, and he immediately says, we're booked for a year, but you should, how about trying the library? So I went to the library, and they could show it right then and there. It was a library display, So that's what I did. I showed it there, and then I showed it, I ended up, after a period of a couple of years, I showed it at 23, I think it was 23 libraries and universities and colleges from Central California, from UC Sacramento down to UC Santa Barbara.
And it also seems like in a lot of your work that there's a pretty strong element of activism and maybe even political confrontation. So how do you incorporate that into, how do you turn that into art?
I did the Grim Reaper, just dressed as a Grim Reaper, and stood along the, and just stood at prominent places on the highway. The turnoff on Carmel Hill where the freeway ends. People would stop and thank me for doing it. And then I had a fellow stop, and he just stopped. He had a pickup, not unlike mine. He had a pickup. He drove up to my side, and then he gunned, and this was in gravel. I'm standing in gravel. So he drives up right next to me, and then he guns it, and all this gravel hits me from all the way up and down. And what was interesting, it didn't hurt at all, nothing. But I said, well, it's working. And when something like that happened, I liked it because it's working. I got somebody's attention.
You had for many years, 26 years, you say, that truck that I think a lot of people here associate with you, and you use the truck for public artworks
and what I would do, I'd do different works up there. About half of it was political and half art, and I'd paint it different colors. It's been painted. I started counting, and there was 8 different colors. Yeah, where it was really needed was liquid books. As a result of the truck, probably because I had that truck, I suddenly had an idea about 7 or 8 years ago that I'm going to give books away. I'll give books away, and I'll have a bookmobile, just like the library has. And I'll build bookcases and put them around the back of in the cab of the pickup. And I did that, and it was very successful. I went to the library, and they gave me books, and secondhand stores did, and I did that for a long time, and I would have it at the farmer's market at MPC.
So you've had a long and really varied and pretty intensive life of creating this art and sharing it with people. What's it done for you, and what does it give you?
The first time I heard the term self-esteem, I thought, oh, does that sound, oh, that sounds so phony, self-esteem. And well, now I don't think that's the case. I now feel that way about myself, because in the past I was a failure in life. I barely graduated from high school, then a clerk for a while, not going on with no future, and then the military. I was very successful in the military, in promotion and working up in the job, but I hated it all the time, and was never what I wanted to do. So I never had any self-esteem. I suddenly realized that's what I didn't have. Well, what the art has done to me is giving me self-esteem. I was just going through all the stuff, all the works I've done. I'm going through it. I just went through a lot of the folders in preparation for this, and I haven't done it for a long time. And I've gone through it. At the end of it, I've said, "This is good."
Sounds like a good feeling to me, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people who.
Well, I bet you have it too.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people who you've touched, inspired, and turned on in some way, and I think a lot of people appreciate what you've done, and you're looking forward to more.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Ed, for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
All right, mine too.
Hello, I am Berniz House. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for the Arts Council of Monterey. Today, I would like to invite you to visit our webpage and visit our cultural directory, where you can find out more about arts and cultural groups in our region. For example, today I will present to you Spirits of Salinas Irish Dancers. The group is based in Salinas and they travel throughout the county to perform at various events. The fall costume shows feature both traditional and contemporary costumes and choreography. In 2011, they represented the city of Salinas at the welcome ceremony for the Lord Mayor of Drogheda from Ireland at the Steinbeck Center. The artistic director, Lisa Eisman, is an associate member of the Congress of Irish Dance Teachers based in Ireland. Enjoy.
I went into my chamber, all thought to take a slumber. I dreamt of golden jewels and for sure it was no wonder. But Jenny drew me charges and she filled them up with water. And she sent for Captain Barrow to be ready for the slaughter. Whack your ring, come a do, come a da. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Whack your ring, come a do, come a da. Whack for my daddy-o. Whack for my daddy-o. There's whiskey in the jar. Whiskey in the jar. Whiskey in the jar. Whiskey in the jar. Whiskey in
We hope you enjoyed the program. Thanks to our guests and thanks to you for watching.
If you have any questions or suggestions, if you'd like to volunteer or be a sponsor, just email us at info@theartsoftheanswer.org.